Every connection between people starts with a certain situation. Sometimes it can be a coincidental encounter in a faraway land where you're visiting for the first time. Lu Zhao 11, the male lead, was enjoying a relaxing weekend by the lake. But before he could take a bite of his baked potato, he got a phone call. It was his assistant reminding him about a 9 a.m. meeting at the hospital tomorrow, which he definitely couldn't be late for. As he hung up, he heard a strange animal cry. He went deep into the woods to find out what it was and discovered a young calf that was injured. Could this be a bad omen for this weekend? Dark clouds were gathering, and the weather in these high mountains was getting harsher. It turned out that there had been heavy rain in the area for many days, causing floods and landslides. Yi Shilan, a doctor who treated people in remote areas, was based here. She worked in a small clinic that was close to the villages. This was the Taoyuan Village Clinic. When she didn't have any patients, she would help the clinic director and deputy director clean the place and cook. While she was outside, she discovered that one of the goats she raised near the clinic was missing. This goat was called Taihua and was her favorite. Turns out, this was the same injured goat that Lu Zhao 11 had found in the forest. Unfortunately, while transporting the goat for treatment, Lu Zhao 11 encountered a landslide on the road. The car was also damaged and difficult to continue. However, that wasn't what the second female lead was concerned about. Her main concern was that the goat would receive treatment quickly. The male lead quickly smashed the car door, ignoring his injured leg, to carry the goat and find a place for examination. Meanwhile, Yi Shilan was anxiously searching for Taihua with a flashlight. Finally, she found both the male lead and the goat, quickly leading them back to the clinic. After asking, she learned that his name was Lu 11 Zhao, and he was 28 years old. Shilan suspected that he was a wicked goat thief. It was really ridiculous. Every item he was wearing was worth hundreds of times more than that goat. Why would you do something so unbelievable? I saved that goat. Don't think of anything wrong. Yi Shilan treated Lu 11 Zhao's hand wound. The serious injury on his leg was even more serious. There was no X-ray machine here, and there was no cell phone signal to call for help because of the storm. Lu 11 Zhao wasn't comfortable letting the doctor here treat him. However, don't judge a book by its cover. The clinic director's acupuncture skills were not to be underestimated. After a short time of acupuncture, Lu 11 Zhao could walk normally again. Because he had no money with him, he promised to bring them an ultrasound machine and many medicines from the city when he returned. Tonight, Lu Zhao 11 would stay overnight at this small clinic. After Lu Zhao 11 took a bath, everyone at the clinic had prepared his food. But this meal wasn't peaceful because Yi Shilan kept teasing him, thinking that Lu Zhao 11 was just a braggart. Angrily, the male lead stubbornly insisted that he pay 300 yuan for each chicken piece he ate. So Yi Shilan recorded everything he used here, from the examination fee, food, and accommodation to charge him. The next morning, the rain was still pouring. Yi Shilan took Lu Zhao 11 to find his car but couldn't find any trace. There was only one way to get here, and he couldn't call for a car. Lu Zhao 11 would hardly be able to return to Insing Hospital today. So you work at Insing Hospital? Yi Shilan didn't believe the braggart standing in front of her. Insing Hospital was the city's leading public hospital with a good reputation and quality. An important meeting was going on at the hospital right now. This was also the official inauguration meeting of the new hospital director, Lu Zhao 11, but he still wasn't there. The cell tower in Taoyuan Village was malfunctioning, making it difficult to contact Lu Zhao 11. Yi Shilan was becoming increasingly annoyed, believing that Lu Zhao 11 was lying about his identity. She insisted that he was a scammer who sold fake herbal wines to the elderly in the village. Just then, Mrs. Fang came for a consultation because she was experiencing leg pain. Seeing the situation unfolding, she didn't hesitate to point out Lu Zhao 11 as the person who had sold her herbal wine the day before. Lu Zhao 11, after being identified as a scammer selling fake herbal wine, was completely devastated. He only blamed himself because Mrs. Fang's leg pain made her mistake and wrongfully accused him. It turned out that Yi Shilan didn't believe Lu Zhao 11 because she was also a pediatrician at Insing Hospital and had never heard of this director's reputation before. It was true that Yi Shilan worked in Taoyuan Village because it was a public welfare project by the hospital aimed at providing medical assistance to poor areas. One of them must be lying. Yi Shilan now wanted to drive this untrustworthy fellow away. What if he went to the next village and continued to scam the elderly? They reluctantly kept him there, thinking that when he was done with his debt, he could help with odd jobs. Lu Zhao 11's work today would start with taking care of the duck coop. In reality, Lu Zhao 11 had never had to do any dirty manual labor since birth. All day long, while the clinic was still seeing patients, Lu Zhao 11 cleaned the house, wiped tables and chairs, swept the yard, boiled water and poured water, and even took care of the goats in the backyard, like a diligent errand boy. The long day passed, and Lu Zhao 11 automatically completed all the tasks without Yi Shilan needing to remind him. Because of his hard work, he was allowed to sit at the table with everyone for breakfast. While they ate, they discussed how to help Yi Shilan find a way to return to Anxing Hospital to work. It turned out that during one incident, Yi Shilan had compassion for a patient who was refused treatment due to a high chance of death. She had unilaterally reported the case to her superiors without going through the head of the department. As a pediatrician, she interfered with the work of the cardiovascular department, which was a taboo in the medical field. It was because of Yi Shilan's impulsiveness that the hasty surgery was unsuccessful, and the child she wanted to save lost his life. Until now, Yi Shilan was still unable to return to work at Anxing Hospital, and she was stuck in this remote village. She even had some spare time, so she took Lu Zhao 11 to the stage in the courtyard and filmed a video of him promising to never sell fake herbal wine again. In the evening, Yi Shilan snuck into the storage room, looking for some wine to drown her sorrows, but Lu Zhao 11 discovered her. "Since we've already met here, let's have some good wine together for a good night's sleep. Looking at you, it seems like you often sneak into the storage room with the clinic director and deputy director to drink wine, right?" Sometimes when she was feeling down, Yi Shilan would come here to borrow some wine to drown her sorrows. What was she upset about today? She could tell Lu Zhao 11 without hesitation. It turned out that she was still upset about offending the head of the department and the hospital director at the time. Because of her serious offense, despite consistently passing the assessments with excellent grades, she had never received a nod from them to return to the hospital. Working anywhere has its meaning, but Yi Shilan also has a life that she desires. She couldn't just stay like this forever. The more she drank, the easier it was for her to talk about her troubles, and sharing with Lu Zhao 11 made her feel better. Lu Zhao 11, despite his appearance, had a very low tolerance for alcohol. He passed out after only a few sips. Today was the anniversary of Yi Shilan's father's death, but she couldn't go home because she was busy. She was alone and had no one to take care of her, so she lied to her mother and said she had a boyfriend. But this time, Yi Shilan's mother refused to believe her daughter and demanded proof. Just when she was at a loss, she was lucky that Lu Zhao 11 was still sitting there. It seemed like this was the first time he was truly useful to Yi Shilan. So she quickly took a picture of him while he was unconscious to send to her mother. Lu Zhao 11 was still unconscious, but somehow he fainted right into Yi Shilan's arms. It was truly a blessing in disguise. She took advantage of him a little more to get a 100% authentic picture to send to her mother for reassurance. Early the next morning, Lu Zhao 11 woke up and prepared breakfast, and he discovered that there was cell service available in the area, and the road in the village had become accessible for vehicles. By the time Yi Shilan returned home, he had already left without a trace. Lu Zhao 11 was now completely back to his wealthy life. After soaking in a hot bath, he made himself a cup of morning coffee, chose his clothes, and started working. Lu Zhao 11 was ready to get back to work, arranging his schedule. He was preparing to film a documentary at the hospital and also investigating Yi Shilan's files. Hearing that Lu Zhao 11 was back, Deputy Director Zhao quickly went to ask a few questions. He conveniently brought the files for recruiting a new assistant for him. But everything this Deputy Zhao did was just to keep an eye on Lu Zhao 11. Even the fact that Lu Zhao 11 had just bought a used ultrasound machine was quickly questioned by him. Far away, Yi Shilan continued working at Taoyuan Village Clinic. "This young man keeps his word. We were really wrong about him." Just then, Yi Shilan also received a message telling her to return to Anxing Hospital to work. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Lu Zhao 11 quickly investigated the hidden events that had happened at the hospital before. He discovered that Yi Shilan, because of her naive nature, had been used in the power struggle between Deputy Director Xu and Deputy Director Gao, leaving her stranded in Taoyuan Village for several months. But Lu Zhao 11 also discovered the rumors about Yi Shilan's love life at the hospital. Whether it was due to curiosity or jealousy, Lu Zhao 11 went all the way down to the pediatric department to see for himself the man who was rumored to be Yi Shilan's crush. Looking at the doctor's kindness, he realized that this was the man in the photo that she had stuck in her book. In Taoyuan, Yi Shilan was busy preparing food for the last meal at the clinic. Xiao Yi was leaving today. Although these people were not related by blood, they had been together for a long time, and they felt reluctant to part ways. The clinic director and deputy director gave her enough advice, especially reminding her to think carefully before doing anything, not to be impulsive, and to avoid offending her superiors. Because of this genuine love, Yi Shilan's steps kept stopping and didn't want to leave. Yi Shilan had to quickly make a hot pot with her best friend and have a few beers to celebrate her return. Her best friend's name was Jia Jia, an anonymous author of romance novels. Because of that, Yi Shilan didn't dare tell Jia Jia about her encounter with Lu Zhao 11 in detail. She was afraid that her friend would get carried away and put it in her novel. The next morning, they both went to Inxing Hospital. Yi Shilan biked there while Lu Zhao 11 was picked up by a car right outside his house. It had been a long time since Yi Shilan had worked at the hospital. She was excited to wear her familiar white coat and Inxing employee badge again. She had just settled in when she received a call to go to the new hospital director's office. As she went, Yi Shilan was suspicious. She anxiously recalled what Lu Zhao 11 had said during the rainy day. What if everything was true? In the end, Lu Zhao 11 was indeed the new director of Inxing Hospital. Now, except for sitting still and keeping silent, Yi Shilan didn't know what else to say. Her tense look was completely opposite to the confident Yi Shilan from the Taoyuan village clinic. She didn't even dare to accept tea from the director to talk about old times. It was all because of her mouth that she was suffering now. What was Lu Zhao 11's action of pouring boiling water on the goat? Was she going to be doomed? Yi Shilan had no choice but to bow her head and apologize to the young director she had offended. But it was okay. This could be understood. Dr. Yi had only done it out of kindness. Lu Zhao 11 also asked to repay her the debt, settling it fairly. Yi Shilan was shocked. They kept passing the money back and forth. If Yi Shilan didn't accept it, Lu Zhao 11 would become a hypocrite who didn't keep his word. She was forced to accept the money and count it in front of him, a total of 8,455 yen. Lu Zhao 11, I've paid back your money, but what you owe me is for my mistake. We have plenty of time. We can settle that debt slowly. Lu Zhao 11 joked cheerfully with the girl, but he was very serious when he was in the meeting room. The issue of the documentary at the hospital that Lu Zhao 11 mentioned became a topic of debate, with Deputy Director Xu continuously objecting. Lu Zhao 11 came up with a reasonable solution to the challenges ahead. Filming the documentary was beneficial for promoting the hospital's image and new technology. If anything happens, I, Lu Zhao 11, will take the responsibility. Meanwhile, under the pediatric department office, Yi Shilan had returned to Inxing Hospital, as she wished but was still being suppressed by head of department Huang. He refused to schedule any appointments for her, and had her sort documents for his book writing. When Yi Shilan returned to her office, she was labeled as arrogant by her colleagues because she refused to go out to dinner with them. Today, the Inxing Hospital Pediatric Department was promoting painless childbirth technology at the mall, and Yi Shilan was also called to assist. This was a practical and meaningful activity, allowing these men to experience the pain that women go through during childbirth. But sadly, no man dared to step onto the stage to try it. In such an awkward situation, Lu Zhao 11's arm bravely volunteered. Lu Zhao 11's encouraging speech finally persuaded 2 more men to join in. Before starting, he also made sure to switch places to sit on the chair that Yi Shilan was supporting. From level 1 to level 3 of the challenge, the 3 men didn't show any signs of pain. But at level 4, their expressions started to change, and they began to feel the pain. One guy couldn't take it anymore and asked to stop at level 5, while the other guy also stopped at level 7. Only Lu Zhao 11 had a very high tolerance for pain, and he even asked to try one more level. The final challenge was successful. This young man, though young, was not weak. Perhaps after this challenge, Yi Shilan had a different view of Lu Zhao 11. She didn't forget to bring him water and praise him for doing an excellent job. In the evening, Lu Zhao 11 again saw Yi Shilan walking home after the promotional event instead of going to dinner with her colleagues. Where do you live? Get in the car, I'll take you home. Lu Zhao 11 kept mentioning the events in Taoyuan village in the car, causing Yi Shilan to apologize. It turned out that Yi Shilan wasn't close to many colleagues and wasn't even in the department's private chat group, so she didn't know that the head of the Anxing group was surnamed Lu. That's why she didn't believe Lu Zhao 11 was the new director who took office that time. Yi Shilan didn't go home right away after getting out of the car. She went to the convenience store with her best friend to relieve some stress. But this girl was clumsy and forgot her bag in Lu Zhao 11's car. He wanted to return the bag to her, but accidentally overheard the conversation between Yi Shilan and her best friend, something that seemed wrong. I just got a ride from you, and now you're calling me your nemesis? It turned out that she had always thought of him as her enemy. The next morning was a beautiful day. Lu Zhao Eleven's assistant went to buy some pastries and coffee for breakfast. Coincidentally, this was the bakery where Yi Shilan's best friend worked. Jia Jia kept secretly peeking at him. It turned out that because of her profession, she always looked at other men to get inspiration for the characters in her romance novels. Yi Shilan, who was working early in the morning, had to listen to this pointless story. Dr. Jiang said that she should have been head of Department Huang's errand runner from the beginning, and wouldn't have had to struggle in Taoyuan village. He also told Yi Shilan to forget about the past. It was unpleasant to hear these words. "Don't worry, I, Yi Shilan, won't ruin your good deed. Please leave me alone." She thought that the jobs that the head of Department Huang gave to her were over. But this arrogant superior continued to give her pointless documents to categorize. Yi Shilan had worked hard to become a doctor so that she could treat patients, but now she was forced to categorize documents. "I'm getting paid by the hospital, but I'm not assigned any shifts, and it makes me feel bad." Just saying that, Yi Shilan was scolded by the head of department. Luckily, Lu Zhao 11 heard this awkward situation and came to her rescue. The director also didn't want to see a situation where there was too much work for some and not enough for others, while some were getting paid for doing nothing. He offered Yi Shilan a position as his office assistant. This position was vacant. This suggestion from Director Lu, was he helping her or harming her? Was he hiding some malicious intent? Yi Shilan hesitated and went to Lu Zhao 11's office to talk to him. While she had no prejudice against being an assistant, for her, being a doctor was still a bigger and more important dream. But Lu Zhao 11 didn't want to pressure her. During this time, it was very difficult for her to get assigned shifts by head of Department Huang. "I just need a temporary assistant. Once my old assistant returns, I'll figure out a way to solve the problem for you. Okay, I'll think it over carefully and give you my answer today." Agreeing to be Lu Zhao's assistant made her so hesitant that she had to flip a coin to decide. But even if the coin landed on heads or tails, she still couldn't accept it. It was time for the hospital to close, but she still couldn't decide whether to agree or not. Her best friend, Jia Jia, invited her to eat fried dumplings to clear her head. As expected, all of her best friend's questions helped Yi Shilan to untangle the knots still in her heart. Being Lu Zhao 11's assistant was the best path for Yi Shilan to fulfill her best friend's wishes. If you refuse him this time, it might be even more troublesome next time. Finally, after being advised by her best friend, Yi Shilan decided to be the director's temporary assistant for a while. Lu Zhao 11, while waiting, didn't rush Yi Shilan to answer, but went swimming to exercise. Yi Shilan wanted to meet him directly to answer but couldn't get in touch. She called his assistant Lin, but she couldn't find him either. By the time he finished swimming, Yi Shilan had been waiting in the rain for a long time. She was hit by a motorcycle speeding past, causing her to fall on the road. "I'm so sorry. Let's go inside and talk. Standing in the rain is not good." Lu Zhao 11 saw that Yi Shilan was drenched in rain and prepared warm water and antiseptic to treat her wound. This scene was familiar. The first time they met, it was also on a rainy day. She treated his wound back then, and today, the roles were reversed. Yi Shilan had come here only to answer Lu Zhao 11. She agreed to be his assistant. Yi Shilan from Taoyuan village seems to be back. As you sow, so shall you reap. She also wants to make Lu Zhao 11 happy. She successfully negotiated today. The next morning, Yi Shilan woke up early to prepare for her new job. She went to Assistant Lin's place to hand over work, and then she started cleaning Director Lu's office. By the time Lu Zhao 11 arrived, everything was ready. It turned out that even though Lu Zhao 11 was young, he was indeed a difficult person to please. The curtains in his room weren't fully open, as it would make his eyes uncomfortable. Yi Shilan's main job was to take care of the director's daily meals and activities. In addition, she needed to memorize everything from the director's requests and habits to his important contacts. It seemed that this assistant job wasn't as easy as she imagined. Yi Shilan was very enthusiastic about this office assistant job, no longer showing her previous sadness. While making coffee for Director Lu, she accidentally took the wrong cup and mistakenly added milk to his coffee because she didn't ask in advance. Lu Zhao 11 only drank black coffee with oat milk, and he only used the black cups in the pantry. Yi Shilan learned new things from him through these mistakes. The assistant position didn't require special skills, but it was important to be comprehensive and confirm everything before doing anything. Assistant Wen had always been close to Lu Zhao 11, but today, he had a private meeting with Deputy Director Gao. It turned out that Deputy Director Gao called him here because he was trying to bribe him. Someone as capable as Assistant Wen probably wouldn't want to work under someone else forever. But Assistant Wen was also someone who was easily tricked and cleverly refused, while intentionally hinting to Deputy Director Jiao that Director Lu wanted to use Dr. Yi to deal with Chief Director Huang. This information couldn't be ignored by Deputy Director Gao, and he had to take other steps. Yi Shilan had only been working for 3 days and had already mastered quite a lot of the assistant's work. But Lu Zhao 11 asked her a question. If I have an urgent matter and you're not here, how should I contact you? It's simple. Call me or text me. But how could he do that when he didn't have her number or WeChat? It had been 3 days since she became Lu Zhao's assistant, and they were only now exchanging numbers to contact each other. That was really strange. Lu Zhao 11 was very talented and successful at a young age, but he still acted childishly. When he had free time, he was constantly playing games, and he often joked with Assistant Wen. But when he heard the question about whether he liked Dr. Yi, he was startled. There's no such thing. I chose her as my assistant because of my initial purpose. Assistant Wen argued. When someone is interested in another person, they will have childish behaviors, like intentionally joking and teasing the other person. Isn't that what you're doing to Yi Shilan? People like that, they call them wacky chickens, though you are a bit clumsy. But despite that, Lu Zhao 11 still treated Yi Shilan to a welcome dinner as her new assistant. Tonight, he took her to a very luxurious restaurant. Yi Shilan was very embarrassed. This meal is too expensive. But Lu Zhao 11 really wasn't lacking in money, so she didn't have to pay for him. Taking advantage of this welcome dinner, Lu Zhao 11 had a few things he wanted to make clear to Yi Shilan. Lu Zhao 11 also had some things he wanted to make clear to Yi Shilan. The reason he chose her as his assistant was because she was very upright, kind, and had a loving heart. I'm not complimenting you. I just appreciate your personality, so don't misunderstand me. Yi Shilan understood that he was saying she wasn't a wacky chicken. Lu Zhao 11 was stunned after being exposed like this. It turned out that he was the only one who didn't know what wacky chicken meant. But seriously, he wanted Yi Shilan, from the perspective of an employee with her advantages and thoughts, to give him more advice to help Inqing Hospital have a better working environment. Hearing his sincere words, she agreed without hesitation. After this meal, Yi Shilan and Lu Zhao 11's relationship gradually became better. On the way home, she told him everything about how Chief Director Huang in the pediatric department had been dictatorial and suppressed the staff. Lu Zhao 11 learned from her that the working system at Inqing Hospital was in a state of crisis. This was happening in the place he was managing, so he couldn't be happy about it. There were many memorable stories tonight. Before Yi Shilan went home, Lu Zhao 11 gave her 10 packs of instant noodles as promised, proving he was a man of his word and had a long memory. Knowing that Lu Zhao 11 liked plants, the next morning when she arrived at the hospital, Yi Shilan prepared a small vase to place on his desk. While chatting, Lu Zhao 11 found out that Chief Director Huang, ever since he published his new book, not only didn't give anyone a copy, but also forced the pediatric staff to buy the book themselves to increase sales. Seeing this, he asked Yi Shilan to go downstairs and get a copy for him, saying that Director Lu wanted to read it. Chief Director Huang didn't want to give Director Lu a book, but he was forced to do so. I didn't expect Director Lu to be interested in these general medical knowledge books. Seeing this, he seemed to sense something. In the afternoon, he went to the director's office to talk to him. Chief Director Huang made a proposal, asking to work for Lu Zhao 11. But Director Lu didn't hesitate to speak frankly. Many doctors in the pediatric department have complained about Chief Director Huang's oppression of them. Chief Director Huang, Dr. Yi here, has also complained to me about this situation with a very negative emotion. I, as the director, cannot just sit still and watch. Yi Shilan, standing beside him, couldn't believe he would speak the truth so directly. This time, Lu Zhao 11 wasn't trying to harm her, was he? How could she go back to the pediatric department to work in peace? Yi Shilan was really angry about this. But actually, Lu Zhao 11 was just trying to help, and things like this can't be avoided forever. You have to face them directly to end them, right? Even though she was about to go crazy, Yi Shilan still had to go to Lu Zhao 11's house to help him clean up, as she promised. She was still upset, and she kept complaining to him when she got there. She was so busy talking that she didn't notice another woman in the house until a while later. Yi Shilan was embarrassed and just assumed it was the housekeeper called Aunt Pang. After cleaning the house and lighting incense like Lu Zhao 11's instructions, Yi Shilan asked Aunt Pang to help with the cooking. This woman was also very kind and promised not to tell Lu Zhao 11 of the things she was complaining about. He'd already annoyed her so many times. The woman asked about Yi Shilan's background and learned about her difficult past. Her father died when she was young, and her mother worked selling vegetables at the market. She lived in a boarding school since middle school and moved out after college. She'd had to be independent since she was very young. She was indeed a pitiful but very polite girl. However, when Lu Zhao 11 came home, he realized there was no Aunt Pang. It was actually his mother. After Chief Director Huang was criticized by the school, he went back to his department and took back all his personal documents. He didn't make his employees sort them. These coworkers didn't appreciate Yi Shilan for doing this. They thought she was asking for trouble. They said now she's close to the hospital director and she's not afraid of anyone. Yi Shilan was indeed worried about the situation and couldn't live peacefully afterwards. She was not as open and happy with Lu Zhao 11 as before. He startled her, causing her to drop her coffee. She wouldn't let him pay for it. Lu Zhao 11 wanted to make up for it, so he asked her to order him a new one and was going to tell her to take it. But Yi Shilan wasn't someone who easily believed things. While ordering him a drink, she also ordered herself one. Seeing this, Assistant Wen remembered a famous saying online. This interesting girl has successfully caught my attention and made Lu Zhao 11 feel guilty. There was no such nonsense. She was just being difficult with him because of what happened earlier. After getting back at Lu Zhao 11, Yi Shilan was very proud. She even declined his offer to buy her lunch. But the hospital director was clever, saying, "If you don't let me pay, you pay for me. I don't believe you're that stingy." Yi Shilan was speechless. "Okay, what do you want to eat?" "I'll pay." During the meal, she explained her feelings to him. Yi Shilan didn't agree with his plan to improve the Anqing hospital, but she just wanted to do her job well. She was worried that this time, offending Chief Director Huang would prevent her from returning to the pediatrics department. Yi Shilan's words made Lu Zhao 11 feel a bit sad. He had always considered her a friend, so he helped her. But it turned out she didn't see him as a friend. Lu Zhao 11's words left Yi Shilan speechless. On their way home, they accidentally ran into Dr. Zhang and his girlfriend. Seeing them happily exchanging flowers, Yi Shilan walked past without hesitation. However, Lu Zhao 11 saw all her expressions. He called the little flower vendor over and said, 15 flowers for 75 yuan. I'll take them all and give them to Yi Shilan. It wasn't about showing off. He just wanted her to be happy and for the little flower vendor to be able to go home earlier. As a result, their relationship not only resolved their conflict, but also became even better. But it seemed like this positive development was irritating someone. After lunch, Dr. Zhang took the initiative to make a date with Yi Shilan. This person was curious and eager to know if hospital director Lu was pursuing her. He even had the audacity to remind her that she should stay away from men like Lu Zhao 11, who are smooth talkers but ultimately useless and could end up using her as a shield. Yi Shilan was extremely annoyed by Dr. Zhang's words. Lu Zhao 11's business had nothing to do with him. Don't judge people based on your own narrow-mindedness and be concerned for those who are kind. Although she didn't admit it, Dr. Zhang's words hit the nail on the head for her, causing Yi Shilan to think about it a bit. The next morning at the hospital, Lu Zhao 11's kindness and care seemed to put pressure on her. Today, Hospital Director Lu's office unexpectedly received a VIP guest, a wealthy young man. Lu Zhao 11 didn't watch TV dramas, so he didn't recognize this famous celebrity. It turned out this distinguished guest learned that Anqing Hospital was preparing to film a documentary at the obstetrics department. She asked Lu Zhao 11 to show her the upcoming filming plan. After looking it over, she immediately demanded the plan be canceled. Her marriage and pregnancy hadn't been announced to the public yet. Although the hospital had plans to protect customer information during the filming, she didn't agree. Faced with this situation, Lu Zhao 11 offered to help the celebrity switch to another hospital. But she was the daughter-in-law of Zhang, a shareholder in the Anqing group. She refused to go anywhere. At that moment, Yi Shilan brought in water. She introduced herself as a huge fan of the celebrity. Yi Shilan's presence eased the tense atmosphere in the room. But actually, Yi Shilan wasn't a fan at all. She had already seen the customer's file beforehand, so she was just acting a bit. That day, Yi Shilan's mother came to see her. Yi Shilan was just about to enter the hospital director's office and ask for an early departure, and the two of them were also on their way out to do something. Yi Shilan suddenly remembered the photos she had secretly taken of Lu Zhao 11 to lie about having a boyfriend to her mother the last time. The elevator was going down. Yi Shilan was very anxious and didn't know whether to tell the truth. Now, she could only pray that her mother wouldn't see him. Fortunately, they didn't see each other in the end. Yishilan's mother was very happy to be in the city to visit her daughter. She even took her mother on the bus for a tour of the city. Her father knew that she wasn't a doctor now, but a temporary assistant to the hospital director. But there was another issue that she couldn't avoid, her boyfriend. Yishilan's mother kept asking about the identity of the boyfriend in the photo. She was desperate and could only tell her mother that he was surnamed Lu. That evening, her best friend, Jia Jia, teased her, saying, "Is Yishilan's boyfriend, little Lu, very handsome and stylish? Auntie, you must meet your future son-in-law before you go home." The next morning, Yishilan prepared a new vase for the hospital director's office. It was a type of iris, which symbolizes friendship, and it was very fitting. Yishilan stayed up late last night, thinking about the message from Dr. Jiang about the party at the pediatrics department. She didn't look very energetic. Lu Zhao 11 cared about her and wanted her to go home and rest, but Yishilan quickly refused. She said she had to go to his house to pick up her dry cleaning. Yishilan was still upset because she knew that her decision to follow Lu Zhao 11 would make it difficult for her to return to the pediatrics department in the future. Yishilan even thought about apologizing to Chief Director Huang, wondering if he would despise her. Chief Director Huang held another get-together in the department that night. It was supposed to be a dinner party, but it was actually a chance for him to suppress and humiliate his staff. Chief Director Huang's words were truly harsh. He said that hospital director Lu was just a spoiled rich kid, and that female doctors shouldn't demand equality, but should be focusing on finding husbands. All of this was being recorded live and streamed to Lu Zhao 11. Chief Director Huang was even worse than Yishilan had described. He was truly despicable. But what Lu Zhao 11 didn't expect was that Yishilan was standing in front of the restaurant where the pediatrics department was having their get-together. After a long time, Yishilan decided to go inside that chaotic room. Seeing this from the other side, Lu Zhao 11 was angry. Chief Director Huang was drunk, so he wouldn't know how much he would humiliate the naive Yishilan. Lu Zhao 11 couldn't wait any longer. He immediately ran to the party. As he ran, he heard everything Chief Director Huang said to humiliate Yishilan and her mother, claiming she didn't know her place, and was trying to climb her way to being Mrs. Lu. After all that, thinking of her future, Yishilan lowered her head and apologized to Chief Director Huang. She even punished herself by drinking 3 glasses of wine. She had reached her wit's end. Just then, Lu Zhao 11 rushed in and opened the door. The scene before him made him go crazy. He grabbed a glass of wine and smashed it against the wall, then pulled Yishilan to her feet. Chief Director Huang was drunk and didn't fear the hospital director's anger. He thought Yishilan had conspired with Lu Zhao 11 to harm him at the party that night. Lu Zhao 11 didn't deny it. He confirmed that Yishilan was there because he had arranged it. Seeing the chaos, Yishilan ran away. Lu Zhao 11 quickly chased after her. Yishilan was extremely angry with him. She didn't want to continue their friendship. She wanted things to stop at their positions as leader and subordinate, superior and inferior. But Lu Zhao 11 had only said those things to save face for her. She hadn't done anything wrong, so why should she apologize to Chief Director Huang? The Yishilan I know is not like that. She is very righteous. Even though she doesn't like her job, she tries to stay positive and do her best. As for him, everything he knows about Yishilan is just imagined to complete her work. Right now, the most important thing for her was to stay at the hospital as a pediatrician so that her mother wouldn't worry and she could buy a house to have a better life. Yishilan couldn't afford to offend Chief Director Huang anymore. It turned out that she still saw him as a useless hospital director. But Lu Zhao 11 assured her that he would take responsibility for her. Lu Zhao 11's firm words calmed Yishilan. They sat down on a bench outside her apartment building and apologized to each other for their mistakes in what had just happened. While they were happily talking, Yishilan's mother appeared. "Mom, what are you doing here?" Yishilan panicked. If both he and her mother found out that she had lied about having a boyfriend, the situation would be awkward. Lu Zhao 11 didn't hesitate to greet her. Yishilan's mother immediately recognized him. "Isn't this little Lu, Yishilan's boyfriend?" Lu Zhao 11 was stunned, and Yishilan was pleading behind him, begging him not to reveal the secret. The next morning, as soon as Lu Zhao 11 arrived at the hospital, he held a leadership meeting. The footage of what happened at the pediatrics department get-together last night was shown. All of Chief Director Huang's awful words were there for everyone to see, leaving him no room to deny it. This was just a jerk who looked down on his subordinates, didn't respect women, and badmouthed his superiors. Their chief was abusing his power. Chief Director Huang thought he could get away with it, but he still boldly accused Lu Zhao 11 of secretly filming. Unfortunately, the video came from a pediatrician who reported it to the hospital director, accusing their chief of abusing his power. Vice Hospital Director Hu saw that things had gone this far and had no choice but to tell Chief Director Huang to apologize in front of everyone. Although Chief Director Huang was a very skilled doctor, he couldn't remain chief of the department under these circumstances. Everyone agreed with Lu Zhao 11's plan. Lu Zhao 11's exposure of Chief Director Huang's actions was a resounding success. The pediatricians would no longer have to endure Chief Director Huang's unreasonable pressure. As a result, Yi Shilan became closer to her colleagues. To reward Lu Zhao 11 for restoring justice, she decided to take him out for a meal. Eat a little more. You've been working hard. Regarding the boyfriend issue, she had only secretly taken a photo of him at Taoyuan that night because her mother had been pressuring her. She didn't mean anything else. At the time, Yi Shilan still firmly believed he was a dishonest con artist selling herbal remedies. Her mother thought he was her boyfriend. It is true that you can laugh at someone one day, but the next day the tables turn. On their way back, Yi Shilan stopped by a flower shop. He didn't understand why she was doing this. It turned out she was buying a single yellow rose, the flower representing an apology. She really owed him quite a bit. She had taken advantage of his kindness and still had a lot to ask of him. Of course, she should be more considerate, but Lu Zhao 11 wasn't going to let things end there. He made her record a video promising to repay her debt for this, just like Yi Shilan had done to him before. That night, one side was Yi Shilan, along with her best friend, who was a professional. The other side was Lu Zhao 11, with his mother acting as an advisor. Both sides were brainstorming ideas for the fake boyfriend dinner date, with Yi Shilan's mother the next day to make sure everything went smoothly and according to plan. Yi Shilan and Lu Zhao 11 had an emergency meeting. It turned out she didn't want this lie to continue forever. She wanted him to give her mother a bad impression of him today, for example. He could dress sloppy, say that he was borrowing his car from a friend, and be half an hour or an hour late for their appointment. When he orders, he should order things that I don't like bitter melon and onions. Lu Zhao 11 listened to Yi Shilan and prepared sloppy clothes and pretended to be an unreliable rascal. But no matter how hard he tried to fake it, Lu Zhao 11 couldn't get used to the image, and he imagined himself in the role Yi Shilan had described to her mother, which was very similar to Dr. Jiang Junming. In the end, Lu Zhao 11 arrived perfectly on time and impeccably dressed in front of Yi Shilan's mother, even casually stroking her hair. "Girlfriend, get in the car. Let's go." Sitting in the car, Yi Shilan's mother took the opportunity to investigate his household registration, but Lu Zhao 11 was quick-witted and smooth-talking. All the things they discussed earlier for Lu Zhao 11 to give her mother a bad impression of him were reversed. When they arrived at the restaurant, even though Yi Shilan had texted to remind him of the original plan, Lu Zhao 11 still showed himself to be a boyfriend who understood his girlfriend very well. He even knew that her mother loved eating taro. Yi Shilan waited for Lu Zhao 11 to pay and pretended to go to the bathroom so she could speak to him directly. But his reason for doing this was very reasonable. "If I were a terrible man like that, why would you still be dating me for 10 months? It doesn't make sense, so there's no need to ruin his image." After dinner, Lu Zhao 11 took Yi Shilan and her mother for a walk in the park. He even made a date with her mother to meet up frequently in the future and go for walks together so they could develop a closer relationship. Yi Shilan suspected that Lu Zhao 11 might be developing feelings for her. If that made her feel more confident and beautiful, he couldn't refuse. Assistant Wen made a separate appointment with this girl after work to talk, but it was more like a confrontation. It turned out she had used his image and even his name, Kevin, to create a character in her romance novel. Assistant Wen said that was considered using a client's personal life for creative purposes. Assistant Wen demanded Jia rewrite the entire story. This character would be a villain in the future. His friend was a longtime reader of hers. If she continued reading it, it would affect his image in his friend's eyes. Jia had no choice but to agree under the threat of Assistant Wen exposing her secret. Lu Zhao 11, Yi Shilan, and her mother were having a very enjoyable conversation in the park. Lu Zhao 11 found out that she loved drawing as a child, but she chose to study medicine to make it easier to find a job when she grew up. While they were walking, Yi Shilan's mother wanted to take a picture of them for a keepsake. He cooperated happily and acted like a happy couple. "Don't worry, Lu Zhao 11. I'm ready for Yi Shilan to use me." As fate would have it, some mischievous children kicked a soccer ball toward them. It hit Lu Zhao 11 on the head, causing him to accidentally kiss Yi Shilan for a second. This moment was captured by Yi Shilan's mother. Yi Shilan's mother was very happy that day. She had been very worried beforehand because she thought her daughter, who grew up in poverty, would easily be taken advantage of by a bad man. But fortunately, Lu Zhao 11 was a good guy. When he talked to her alone, Lu Zhao 11 learned more about Yi Shilan and the truth that her father had committed suicide. Yi Shilan and Lu Zhao 11 accidentally kissed. Jia Jia was very excited to hear about this. Looking at the photo he sent her, she saw that they were holding hands and smiling naturally. The more she looked at it, the more perfect they seemed. It's just that Yi Shilan quickly deleted the photo of them kissing because she was worried that his future girlfriend wouldn't like it if she saw it. The next morning, Yi Shilan saw her mother off to her hometown. She returned to her work. Lu Zhao 11 thought she had cowardly deleted the photo of them kissing. She said that to a doctor, the mouth is just a part of the body, and it's like accidentally touching each other's hands. And Xing Hospital was preparing to film a documentary and had plans to feature some of the main doctors. The pediatrics department was no exception. Lu Zhao 11 wanted to get Yi Shilan's opinion. Between Dr. Xing and Dr. Jiang, who do you think? Dr. Jiang joined the hospital at the same time as Yi Shilan. You know, there's no question about their skills. It seems you're quite close to Dr. Jiang, huh? Assistant Wen, what do you think? It turned out Dr. Jiang had a close relationship with Vice Hospital Director Hu, because his girlfriend was Vice Hospital Director Hu's niece. We can deal with this complicated issue after lunch. Lu Zhao 11 and Yi Shilan took advantage of the meal to take a photo to send to Yi Shilan's mother. After all, Yi Shilan had been lying about this for a long time. It was best to let the breakup happen slowly. Right now, the most important thing was to keep her mother calm. Yi Shilan agreed, but she was also afraid of bothering him. It seemed that Lu Zhao 11 was very concerned about the relationship between Yi Shilan and Jiang Junming. He would occasionally ask her about Dr. Jiang while they were eating. When he heard Yi Shilan say that Dr. Jiang didn't have any major flaws, Lu Zhao 11 actually looked unhappy. After lunch, Lu Zhao 11's father unexpectedly came to visit his son and conveniently wanted to discuss some things. This man had already learned about Lu Zhao 11's relationship with Yi Shilan from his wife, but unlike her, he told his son to be very careful about relationships with women and absolutely not to abuse his position. If someone was flattering him or really liked him, he needed to be able to judge for himself. Right now, more important matters were the documentary filming plans. Shareholder Zhang had directly gone to the chairman of the group, Lu Zhao 11's father, to complain about the celebrity who was his daughter-in-law. Lu Zhao 11 felt like he couldn't waste any more time. He had to resolve this situation with Miss G smoothly. Yi Shilan confided in Jia Jia every day, even though they lived in different places. Every night, they would sit down and tell each other all sorts of things. Yi Shilan wasn't a person who usually took the initiative to make friends. After a get-together, she had accidentally gotten drunk and bumped into Jia Jia, which led to their friendship that lasted until now. It was the same with Lu Zhao 11. They had met because of fate. The longer they spent time together, the more she realized how outstanding he was. But Yi Shilan was somewhat afraid of having unusual feelings for Lu Zhao 11. She thought it was good enough to be just friends with him. They were so different, like instant noodles and cake, which was exactly what they were eating at the time. Lu Zhao 11 decided to choose Dr. Xing to be the representative for the pediatrics department to be featured in the documentary. His decision to not choose Dr. Jiang had nothing to do with his private life. But Lu Zhao 11 was still puzzled as to why Yi Shilan hadn't forgotten this person. Assistant Wen suggested he live his best life and pursue Yi Shilan, helping her escape this romantic misfortune. Yi Shilan's relationship with her colleagues had also improved recently. Dr. Xing, a fellow pediatrician, used to dislike Yi Shilan and would often make insulting remarks to her. But now he had taken the initiative to apologize and even gifted Yi Shilan a box of cakes. Yi Shilan was always kind and didn't hold a grudge. She even took the initiative to join the private chat group of the pediatricians. In the afternoon, Yi Shilan went to Lu Zhao 11's place to finish some work, and conveniently had the opportunity to meet and chat with his mother there. Lu Zhao 11's mother was very interested in Yi Shilan's love life and just wanted to know if she liked her son. Both of them had dated before, but nothing came of it. For a long time now, they had both been without love. While they were chatting, Lu Zhao 11 sent a message. "Meet me tonight to buy a gift." I want to buy a gift for a lovely girl I've loved for many years. Actually, the recipient of the gift was his mother. So he and Yi Shi Lan chose jewelry to give to this special woman. After they chose a gift, they had dinner together. Yi Shi Lan had learned that Aunt Pang, who she had been talking to, and Lu Zhao 11's mother were two different people. They occasionally chatted, especially about him. This was how Yi Shi Lan found out he had been hurt a few times by love, although Lu Zhao 11 completely denied it. When they were walking back, they passed by a shop, and Yi Shi Lan noticed a very cute dress. If you like it, we can go in and try it on together. The image of Yi Shi Lan stepping out in this elegant, demure dress left Lu Zhao 11 speechless. She was so beautiful. Dr. Zhang also sensed the fact that the hospital would be choosing Dr. Xing to be featured in the documentary. This was very inconvenient for Zhang Junming, who wanted to use this opportunity to boost his own influence. His girlfriend was Vice Hospital Director Hu's niece and wanted to use her connections to get this opportunity for her boyfriend. She even thought that Yi Shi Lan had deliberately badmouthed Dr. Jiang to the hospital director for personal reasons, but it turned out that there was no such thing as Yi Shi Lan confessing to Dr. Jiang and being rejected. The truth was that he and Yi Shi Lan had dated for a very short time. He was her only ex-boyfriend until now. Celebrity Miss Ji, after several exchanges with the hospital about the documentary filming plan, still refused everything. She must have been a celebrity for a long time and was used to being well treated, thinking the whole world revolved around her. However, both Yi Shi Lan and Lu Zhao 11 thought there was still a chance to turn things around. The next step was to figure out what this actress wanted. Yi Shi Lan quickly researched Miss Ji's interview answers for the past 2 years and showed the results to Lu Zhao 11 for his consideration. A while later, a very beautiful woman came to see hospital director Lu. He had just returned. They seemed to be very close. The girl's name was Qiao Yu, a friend of Lu Zhao 11's. Yi Shi Lan was a little sad to see them talking and laughing so happily. While she was on her way to pick up the gift from yesterday by bus, she received a message that Qiao Yu had contacted Miss Ji's management company. Lu Zhao 11 would drive to pick her up so they could go negotiate with them. Unfortunately, it suddenly began to rain very hard. An old woman and her grandchild were running to catch the bus, and the child fainted and lost consciousness. Yi Shi Lan happened to be nearby and ran to help. She immediately began CPR to try and save the child. Just then, Lu Zhao 11 arrived in his car. He held up an umbrella to shield her from the rain. Thankfully, the child eventually woke up and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. Yi Shi Lan had done a great job as a doctor in this situation. She was highly respected. But because she was so focused on saving the child, Yi Shi Lan accidentally lost her necklace, which was an important gift for Lu Zhao's mother. So that she wouldn't worry, Lu Zhao 11 said he had put it away and that she shouldn't worry. The meeting with Miss Ji's team was canceled that afternoon, so Lu Zhao 11 took Yi Shi Lan out to dinner. However, Yi Shi Lan wanted to go home first and take a shower because what had happened at the bus stop had made her uncomfortable. After getting ready, Yi Shi Lan apologized for making Lu Zhao 11 wait. Lu Zhao 11 said to her, "Isn't it basic to be patient and wait for your girlfriend to finish getting ready?" Hearing this, even though she was happy, Yi Shi Lan still reminded him, "Don't get too into your role." From Lu Zhao 11's expression, it was clear our male lead was a bit disappointed. On the way to the restaurant, they discussed how to solve Miss Ji's problem. Yi Shi Lan did not disappoint the male lead. She discovered that Miss Ji actually wanted to participate in the documentary, using this opportunity to revamp her image as an actress. She wanted to go public with her pregnancy, but because of a disagreement with her management company, she decided to give Lu Zhao 11 a hard time. They successfully found a way to resolve the issue and quickly went to the restaurant to celebrate. Because his niece had asked him to, Vice Hospital Director Hu went to see the hospital director to ask about choosing a doctor to be featured in the documentary. Vice Hospital Director Hu thought it had something to do with Yi Shi Lan. Lu Zhao 11 quickly and frankly denied it. He also used this opportunity to bring up Vice Hospital Director Hu's prejudice against him as hospital director. They had an honest conversation about their feelings for each other, and it seemed to have cleared the air between them. Over dinner, Yi Shi Lan and Lu Zhao 11 learned that Lu Zhao 11 planned to include Dr. Jiang in the documentary but didn't reveal it, so that Vice Hospital Director Hu would take the initiative to ask him. This made her exclaim that he was cunning. After a while, the conversation turned to love. Lu Zhao 11 clearly expressed his feelings, but Yi Shi Lan still didn't notice, leaving the male lead very disappointed. The next morning at the company, Lu Zhao 11 bought Yishi Lan some pastries, but she thought he was trying to bribe her into silence. The flowers Yishi Lan chose that day were tulips. She took the lead to explain the meaning of these flowers to the hospital director and expressed that she wouldn't cross the line in their relationship from now on. This action seemed to really irritate Lu Zhao 11. He couldn't stay seated and argued with her while they were both tense. Assistant Wen appeared and pulled Lu Zhao 11 away. In the car, he reminded Lu Zhao 11 to be more careful about his words in the future because someone might be listening. This time, the male lead frankly admitted his feelings, confessing that he liked Yishi Lan. With Lu Zhao 11's heart filled with turbulence, Assistant Wen comforted him. Don't worry. The whole world knows that you two like each other. It's just you two who don't know. Yishi Lan happened to meet Lu Zhao 11's mother and Qiao Yu at his house that day. They had known each other for a long time and were very close, like a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. On the surface, Yishi Lan looked very happy, but she was actually a little sad inside. Assistant Wen felt a little guilty after making Lu Jiajia revise her script. Revising the script so suddenly had made her get cursed out by netizens for whitewashing the villain character. After a little research, he learned that Jiajia wanted to write good screenplays, but she had no experience working for a large company. He analyzed and summarized some of her mistakes and missing knowledge, giving her some tips on how to change the plot to make the story more engaging. Yao Jiajia finally accepted his sincere actions and forgave him. Lu Zhao 11 confessed to his mother during dinner that he really liked Yishi Lan, but he was still hesitant. He was afraid that if she didn't like him, he would have to reject his superior's confession and there would be awkwardness between them in the future. Yishi Lan confided in Jiajia that she was still confused and unsure of her feelings. Even now, in front of Lu Zhao 11, Yishi Lan still felt unworthy of him and very insecure, so she tried to convince herself to suppress her feelings. Lu Zhao 11 and Yishi Lan were starting their day with a discussion about the meaning of different flowers when Qiao Yu walked in. She needed to meet with some of the main doctors who would be featured in the documentary. She needed him to make a little appearance. The two of them looked very well matched together, which made Yishi Lan feel annoyed inside. Yishi Lan was having noodle soup alone for lunch when she ran into Zhang Junming. He was buying food for his girlfriend. He asked if he could join her and she didn't mind. Doctor, Zhang wanted to apologize to her for not clarifying the groundless rumors with his colleagues, which had damaged her reputation, but he accidentally said that hospital director Lu would eventually get back together with his ex-girlfriend. This infuriated Yishi Lan. Lu Zhao 11 took Yishi Lan to learn how to drive on the weekend. She was very worried, afraid that she might bump into something and ruin his expensive car. He chose a road with very little traffic for her to practice. Yishi Lan was very tense while she was learning. She only drove a little faster than walking speed. Jiajia was very happy to see Assistant Wen at her work today. She even asked him to talk later to ask him a few more questions. She even paid for his strawberry milkshake. Assistant Wen was sitting at the cafe and calling Lu Zhao 11. He told him that the police had caught the person who had stolen the necklace that Yishi Lan had accidentally lost while saving the child. Unfortunately, he heard this conversation right in front of her. Lu Zhao 11 could only awkwardly smile at her anger. She was upset that he had lied to her. She was an adult and needed to take responsibility for her actions. She had been a bit impulsive, but that was the real Yishi Lan, always wanting to rely on her own strength. Today, they decided to have dinner with Yishi Lan cooking at home. She only made a few simple dishes, including sausages that her mother had sent from her hometown. Lu Zhao 11 stood next to her watching her cook and found her very charming. Lu Zhao 11 and Yishi Lan had a sumptuous meal. They brought out the wine that Manager Li had given them as a gift and drank a few glasses. While they were eating, they remembered old times in Taoyuan village. Now, when they thought back, it was even funnier. After a while, they accidentally brought up the past. Finally, she told him why her father committed suicide that day. Yishi Lan's father had been an interior designer. He had wanted to buy a house for the family and had taken on a whole project. But he was tricked and all the effort he had put in over many years evaporated. This was a huge shock, causing him to lose his will to rebuild and choose to end his life. It turned out that this was the reason why Yishi Lan always dreamed of owning her own house. Lu Zhao 11 knew that she was very emotional at this moment, so he tried very hard to listen and offer support. Lu Zhao 11 and Yishi Lan felt a little tipsy after dinner and reminiscing. His mother's birthday was in 2 days. Lu Zhao 11 took the opportunity to invite the two of them to pretend to be a couple and have dinner at his house. While cleaning up, Yishi Lan accidentally bumped her head on the cabinet. Lu Zhao 11 wanted to blow on her wound to help it feel better, but the close distance at that moment, plus the wine they had had earlier, caused them to lose control of their emotions, and they kissed. A phone call interrupted this romantic moment. Jia Jia announced she was about to come home, so he prepared to leave too. "It's not like we're sneaking around. Why are you leaving in such a hurry?" Lu Zhao 11 couldn't sleep the entire night because of this kiss. He called for Assistant Wen to pick him up in the morning to brag about Yi Shilan. He was also very flustered at work that morning. She thought it was an accident and wanted him to forget about what happened last night. This made him very disappointed. Just then, Qiao Yu ran to the hospital director's office, making Yi Shilan feel even worse. The issue of dealing with Miss Ji had been largely resolved, thanks to Yi Shilan figuring out her intention to participate in the filming. Even Qiao Yu realized that Lu Zhao 11 had feelings for Yi Shilan, but only this silly girl herself couldn't see it. Lu Zhao 11 had a good idea and asked Qiao Yu to cooperate in teasing Yi Shilan. They pretended to be closer than usual in front of Yi Shilan. He even pretended to ask her to buy the dress she liked the other day for Qiao Yu to wear to his mother's birthday party. "I'm going swimming with Qiao Yu later. Could you bring the dress to the pool?" Yi Shilan pretended to agree happily in front of Lu Zhao 11, but she was actually very annoyed. There were so many dresses in the mall. Why did he have to pick the one she liked best? Lu Zhao 11 was waiting for Yi Shilan at the pool, timing her arrival for his prank. When Yi Shilan walked in, they playfully splashed each other with water, successfully making her jealous. When she got home, Yi Shilan was scolded for only telling Yao Jia Jia the truth now. She hadn't wanted to admit her feelings because she thought he didn't like her, and now she wrongly believed that he was trying to pursue his ex-girlfriend. According to Jia Jia's analysis, their love story was actually very much like a romance novel. The male lead tries to make the female lead jealous by going swimming with a member of the opposite sex. All morning, Lu Zhao 11 didn't come to the office or send a message, causing Yi Shilan to look forward to it all day. It turned out he was preparing a surprise. He lied to her, saying that Qiao Yu was busy and wanted to invite her to his mother's birthday party. Yi Shilan immediately refused, but she didn't expect Lu Zhao 11 to be so clever. His weapon was the video she had made promising to unconditionally fulfill any of his requests after the fake boyfriend played last time. Yi Shilan had no way out and had to agree. Holding the dress, she smiled triumphantly. It turned out her friend Jia Jia had guessed what Lu Zhao 11 was doing and told Yi Shilan beforehand. This made Yi Shilan realize that Lu Zhao 11 definitely knew she liked him and was trying to get her to take the lead. Sitting in Lu Zhao 11's car, looking at the beautiful female led in the dress, he couldn't help but give her a sweet compliment. Yi Shilan was empowered and confident today because of Jia Jia's words. Last night, she spoke to Lu Zhao 11 very boldly and took the lead, even intentionally showing her jealousy of Qiao Yu. This made Lu Zhao 11 very happy. They went to a flower shop together to choose a bouquet of birthday flowers for Lu Zhao 11's mother. Lu Zhao 11 was very obedient and listened to Yi Shilan. He also bought her a bouquet of pink roses. Then they went to Lu Zhao 11's house to prepare for the birthday party. Lu Zhao 11 realized that Yi Shilan was a person who truly valued things that brought solace to the soul. Yi Shilan said that she saw people like flowers, but she felt like a leaf. Lu Zhao 11 laughed. "If you're the leaf, then I probably won't be able to see any other flowers." The four of them had a very happy birthday party. Yi Shilan gave Lu Zhao 11's mother a bottle of aromatherapy oil that helped with sleep. She had personally blended a light and elegant fragrance, which her mother-in-law loved. After giving the gift, Yi Shilan went into the kitchen to finish preparing the meal. Mr. and Mrs. Lu were very excited to see their son kindly putting on an apron for Yi Shilan. When the party was over, Yi Shilan took the initiative to ask him to take her home. In the car, Lu Zhao 11 asked Yi Shilan what she thought of today. He said he felt like she was still pretending to be oblivious, so he gave up and expressed his feelings for her. Yi Shilan said, "Do you have something you want to tell me too?" This made Lu Zhao 11 pull over to the side of the road to talk because he was afraid that his emotions would get the better of him and he wouldn't be able to drive safely. Yi Shilan admitted that she also liked the male lead, but she was afraid that he liked her out of pity. However, Lu Zhao 11 convinced her to believe that he truly loved her. At this point, Yi Shilan realized that they were standing in the same place where they had watched the rainbow together. Lu Zhao 11 took out the vibrant bouquet of 7-color roses he had bought at the flower shop that afternoon and had been hiding from her. He promised, "Even if you encounter something unpleasant in the future, I will still try my best to make it better." Yi Shilan walked towards him. and took the lead to kiss him. Finally, she decided to take this chance at happiness in her life. Yixilan happily shared her love story with her friend Jia Jia. The bouquet of pink roses Lu Zhao 11 had given Yixilan had 13 flowers, and the bouquet of 7 color roses had 14 flowers. Combined, it was 13 and 14, meaning a lifetime together. Jia Jia was very surprised. Her friend, who used to criticize her romance novels, was now immersed in the romance of love. The two girls spent the whole night talking about love. The next morning, in contrast to Jia Jia, who woke up tired and sleepy, Yixilan woke up very early. She put on makeup, enjoyed breakfast, and carefully chose her clothes to go to work. Lu Zhao 11 came early to pick her up and take her to work. They didn't want to make their relationship public yet, so to avoid misunderstandings, they decided to take separate routes to work. She heard that Xing Hospital was going to have a charity medical checkup in Taoyuan Village, and she wanted to go with everyone, but she was hesitant. It wouldn't be good to go as a private citizen. Seeing her hesitation, Lu Zhao 11 added her to the list of doctors who would be going on the trip. On the way home, Yixilan opened her phone and posted a status on her social media. She discovered that Jia Jia and Assistant Wen knew each other. Assistant Wen had liked a status that was visible to Jia Jia's friends. When she got home, Yixilan told Jia Jia. This was how Jia Jia found out that Assistant Wen had learned about Lu Zhao 11's swimming trip from her novel, and also found out that Assistant Wen actually didn't have any friends who liked to read her stories. He was a longtime fan of her novels. Vice Hospital Director Gao made a separate appointment with Assistant Wen to probe the hospital director's intentions. He thought this year's hospital audit was different from previous years, because the new hospital director wanted to be ruthless and target someone. Assistant Wen expressed his own guess. Maybe Director Lu is targeting Vice Hospital Director Gao. Vice Hospital Director Gao was very worried to hear this. Yixilan went to Jia Jia's shop to buy 2 bubble teas. While waiting for the elevator at her company, she ran into Vice Hospital Director Zhao. He wanted to find out if Yixilan had suggested the trip to Taoyuan Village to the hospital director. Yixilan quickly denied it. During dinner, Yixilan expressed her anxiety because the staff, including Vice Hospital Director Zhao, thought that Lu Zhao 11 was favoring her suggestions. When he heard the name Vice Hospital Director Zhao, Lu Zhao 11 reminded Yixilan, "If he asks again, just avoid him and report it to me." In fact, Vice Hospital Director Gao had recommended many candidates for the hospital director's secretary position because he wanted to grasp every action of Lu Zhao 11 as much as possible. He was a complex person and liked to speak in riddles. After dinner, Lu Zhao 11 and Yixilan went shopping for a gift for the director. A hidden person in the distance took a photo of them, happily holding hands as they entered the store. This was the person that Vice Hospital Director Gao had hired to follow them. The two were the same people he hired to investigate Yixilan 2 months ago. Now that he had information that they were in love, plus Yixilan's father's suicide, who knew what Vice Hospital Director Gao was planning to do? Today was the charity checkup in Taoyuan Village. On their way there, they learned that Yixilan had lived in Taoyuan Village for 6 months. Qiao Yu and Dr. Zing kept asking her questions about the medical checkups there. Yixilan answered every question in detail, demonstrating her extensive knowledge of the area. Taoyuan Village Clinic prepared many examination tables to welcome the doctors from Xing Hospital. They even hung a red banner to greet them. The director and deputy director were both very excited to see Xiao Yi and Xiao Lu again. Half an hour later, they arrived at the Taoyuan Village Clinic. Xiao Suo Yang was waiting at the gate to greet them. According to Yixilan, Xiao Suo was a helper at the clinic and was very lively. After greetings, Xiao Suo led Dr. Zing and Qiao Yu to feed the goats, leaving Yixilan and Lu Zhao 11 behind to unload things. Yixilan rewarded Lu Zhao 11 with a kiss. The kiss left a lipstick mark on Lu Zhao 11's cheek. Suddenly, the director and deputy director appeared because of Lu Zhao 11's excellent performance that day. She quickly explained that his cheek was hot from the long drive. She then chased Lu Zhao 11 away to avoid the 2 elders. The Taoyuan Village Clinic was bustling with patients today. The Xing Hospital doctors worked diligently and provided service to the patients with enthusiasm. Recognizing Lu Zhao 11, Granny Fang pulled him aside to talk and apologize for the misunderstanding they caused him in the past. The friendly conversation between the 3 of them, Granny Fang, Lu Zhao 11, and Yixilan, caught the attention of Dr. Huan. At the cafe, a customer walked in. But Jia Jia was disappointed because it wasn't Assistant Wen. She was just about to leave work when she bumped into him at the door. Jia Jia said that she had good observation skills. Assistant Wen didn't believe her, so he asked her to try and make some guesses about him. To his surprise, every word she said was spot on. He quickly figured out that she had become friends with Yi Shilan to bribe Jia Jia into revealing information about the new novel. Assistant Wen invited her to eat skewers and listen to Jia Jia talk endlessly about love. Assistant Wen felt drawn to her. That night in Taoyuan village, everyone else in the group went back to town to rest, leaving only Yi Shilan and Lu Zhao 11 at the clinic with the director and deputy director. Yi Shilan was sitting on the balcony, talking on the phone with her mother, when Lu Zhao 11 walked up to her. He complimented the sausage she made and promised to visit her family with Yi Shilan next time, but it seemed like Yi Shilan didn't want that. Neither she nor her mother was ready for that yet. They were about to kiss when the director's voice interrupted them. They had to reluctantly leave. The next morning, Xiao Suo prepared a nutritious breakfast for everyone, which he made himself. The director praised Xiao Suo endlessly. "You're good at everything." It turned out that he was hinting at matching Xiao Suo and Yi Shilan. Xiao Suo wasn't shy. He frankly asked Yi Shilan what she thought of him. Lu Zhao 11's eyes turned into bullets and were fixed on Yi Shilan, waiting to hear what she would say. Lu Zhao 11 was fuming inside and about to explode, but the director and deputy director kept trying to push Xiao Suo and Yi Shilan together. While cleaning up after breakfast, Lu Zhao 11 acted sulky towards Yi Shilan. She teased him and made him angry. He kissed her and then walked away smugly. The 2 days of medical checkups in Taoyuan village were over. The director and deputy director prepared many things for Yi Shilan and Xiao Lu to bring back to the city. On the bus back, 2 female colleagues began speculating about the romance between the hospital director and Yi Shilan. Dr. Xing was sitting nearby and noticed that her expression was a little uncomfortable. Their secret love affair also became the topic of conversation during Jia Jia and Assistant Wen's dinner. They were both worried that if it was discovered, Yi Shilan would be the one who would suffer. Assistant Wen suggested that he wanted to become Jia Jia's manager to help her connect with film producers to sell the rights to her scripts. He knew some people in the industry and understood her work very well. So their relationship, from idol and fan, took a step further and became author and manager. As fate would have it, the relationship between the hospital director and Yi Shilan became even more obvious after the medical checkup trip to Taoyuan village. The news spread from the internal medicine department to the pediatrics department. Dr. Li confidently said, "They're together." Dr. Xing and Dr. Jiang wanted to protect Yi Shilan and continued to deny the rumors. At this time, since it was Yi Shilan's payday, she invited Lu Zhao 11 to dinner and go on a date after work. Assistant Wen called Lu Zhao 11 to report the rumors at the hospital, but Lu Zhao 11 hung up because he didn't want Yi Shilan to worry. Assistant Wen later reported this to Chairman Lu and suspected it was related to Vice Hospital Director Zhao. Chairman Lu would make his own arrangements for this. Going to work this morning, the nurses at the front desk suddenly greeted her enthusiastically, which made Yi Shilan feel very strange. When she reached the office, she looked at her work badge and the hospital director's office with regret. Perhaps because today was her last day as the hospital director's assistant, she carefully completed her familiar tasks for the last time. While she was changing the water for the plant, Lu Zhao 11 walked in. Today, he wanted to help her with this. She carefully instructed him to take care of the heather plant, saying that it would be with him to replace her when she was gone. After the meeting with the hospital director, Vice Hospital Director Jiao used the excuse of offering tea and brought Vice Hospital Director Hu back to his office. He used the fact that Hospital Director Lu was dating Dr. Yi to entice Vice Hospital Director Hu to participate in a plan to overthrow Lu Zhao 11 and make Vice Hospital Director Hu the new hospital director. For lunch today, Yi Shilan went out to eat with Qiao Yu. Qiao Yu was very surprised that Lu Zhao 11 agreed to be in a secret relationship. Lu Zhao 11 was usually a very showy person and wanted everyone to know. This decision proved that Lu Zhao 11 really loved Yi Shilan and respected her very much, so he was willing to suppress his own feelings to avoid making her uncomfortable. Seeing Jia Jia's status, Assistant Wen quickly picked up his phone to see if he could help her. But after thinking about it, he decided to delete it and put his phone away. It turned out that Jia Jia had run out of ideas the night before. Assistant Wen deleted the comment because he wanted to talk to her directly, so the next afternoon, he deliberately timed his arrival to coincide with Jia Jia's leaving work. He wanted to help Jia Jia find inspiration. He took her to an amusement park. While they were playing, they both acted out characters, making the child standing outside watching them think they were very strange. Jia Jia said she was having a lot of fun today. Jia Jia curiously asked why Assistant Wen had started reading this type of novel. It turned out that after graduating college and starting to look for a job, he thought to himself that he might meet a CEO in the future, so he went online to learn more about them. He opened up a new world. Jia Jia, on the other hand, had an unhappy relationship with her parents and turned to novels to escape reality. But eventually, she became increasingly passionate about writing. After playing badminton together, Lu Zhao 11 took Yi Shilan back to his house for dinner with his parents. Seeing that the female lead hadn't exercised in a long time and her limbs were sore, Lu Zhao 11 helped her massage her muscles. Just as his parents arrived, they misunderstood that they were getting intimate. Today was Yi Shilan's first meal with Lu Zhao 11's family, and it was also a celebration of her return to the pediatrics department. Yi Shilan's cooking skills impressed everyone. On the way home, Lu Zhao 11 told Yi Shilan about the rumors at the hospital that they were in love. Now Yi Shilan understood why people at the hospital had been so enthusiastic in greeting her and helping her lately. In the hospital elevator, a nurse suddenly revealed to Dr. Xing that she was the one who had spread the word about the relationship between the hospital director and Dr. Yi. She was shocked. Today was Yi Shilan's first day back as a pediatrician. After work, the hospital director treated everyone to dinner to celebrate Dr. Yi's return. He was unable to attend in person. Everyone started talking about the relationship between the hospital director and Dr. Yi. Some of the comments hurt Yi Shilan. She didn't want her relationship with Dr. Yi to fall apart so soon. Dr. Xing explained to her that the rumors weren't related to her. She returned to the dinner table, lost in thought. She then picked up her phone and smiled softly at Yi Shilan. It turned out she had decided to make her relationship public. She called Lu Zhao 11 to pick her up at the restaurant, and they held hands lovingly, shocking the pediatricians. Lu Zhao 11 pressed Yi Shilan. "Did something shock you? That's why you're doing this?" After a few drinks, Yi Shilan confessed that she was angry that her colleagues misunderstood him and thought he was playing with her feelings, so she did this to clear his name. She didn't regret her decision. Let's just take things one step at a time. Since Yi Shilan stopped being his assistant, Lu Zhao 11 had been carefully taking care of the heather plant in his office. He was watering it when Assistant Wu quickly ran over to help because Dr. Yi had taught her how to handle it. Lu Zhao 11 asked her frankly if she knew about the relationship between him and Yi Shilan and asked her not to tell anyone else or treat her any differently. Tomorrow, Anqing Hospital was organizing a medical aid encouragement rally. Vice Hospital Director Zhao wanted Dr. Yi to share her insights and experience. However, he deliberately added that he chose her because she was the hospital director's girlfriend. This would increase the effectiveness of the encouragement. This made Yi Shilan uncomfortable. She could only reluctantly agree. Lu Zhao 11 and Yi Shilan decided not to let the hospital staff pay too much attention to their relationship. Since then, there have been many rumors that Lu Zhao 11 was a playboy who played with women. Yi Shilan, on the other hand, was accused of being a cunning woman who wanted to climb the ladder of success. Yi Shilan was very sensitive to the whispers around her. This really made her uncomfortable. She stayed late tonight because she had a lot of work to prepare for her upcoming speech. Lu Zhao 11 was worried about his girlfriend and brought her a cake. He also surprised her with a necklace. This necklace was the one she had tried on at the mall when she was choosing a birthday gift for his mother. Although Yi Shilan really liked the gift, she also reminded him not to spoil her too much. She was such a reasonable girlfriend. Lu Zhao 11 wanted the whole world to know how self-respecting his girlfriend was. Lu Zhao 11 seemed unable to wait any longer. Yi Shilan, how about we get married? Although there was no rule about how long you have to be dating before you get married, Yi Shilan felt it was too soon. She wanted to agree to marry him when she had bought a house. But in another development, as Lu Zhao 11 thought more about what Assistant Wen had told him about some unpleasant rumors at the hospital, he felt that Vice Hospital Director Gao's proposal to have Yi Shilan give a speech at the upcoming medical aid event was even more unreasonable. As if he had some ill intent to manipulate public opinion. As expected, Vice Hospital Director Zhao wanted to use this event to spread the word about his relationship with Yi Shilan. During the experience sharing session, a young doctor raised his hand and asked, "Are you dating Hospital Director Lu?" This was the final straw for Lu Zhao 11. He didn't hesitate to step onto the stage to deliver a few frank threats. "I fell in love with the kind-hearted Yi Shilan at first sight. I was the one who pursued her. Now, I just hope everyone will give us some privacy. Don't make her scared and run away from me." Yi Shilan was very happy and lucky because of her lover's actions today, and rewarded him with a sweet kiss. They made a date to play badminton after work, then went for a walk like normal couples, bought her some makeup to keep at his place, and went back to his hometown on the weekend to talk to his mother. Meanwhile, Vice Hospital Director Zhao was preparing other tricks to deal with Lu Zhao 11. The next day, an article was released that everyone could read. Last night, an anonymous person posted on online forums discussing the hospital director's relationship with Dr. Yi, claiming that she was pretending to be innocent and trying to seduce him. She was a cunning vixen. The post was a mixture of truth and lies, making it easy to manipulate and mislead public opinion. The author frequently interacted with the people who replied to the post, adding details and twisting the truth. Yi Shilan had also read this article, but she tried to pretend that she was fine with the absurd lies in the article. Clearly, someone had paid to have this article posted on numerous websites. Lu Zhao 11's team was trying to fix things, but it was impossible to handle. Vice Hospital Director Zhao was truly a master, very good at manipulating public opinion. The story of a woman who used her body to climb the ladder of success attracted a lot of viewers to share and discuss it. Therefore, among the many comments, there were also very vicious ones that smeared Lu Zhao 11's reputation. After these rumors, someone would probably stand up and say that his personal life was negatively affecting the reputation of Anqing Hospital, and was a reason why he wasn't suitable to be the hospital director. It turned out the whole conspiracy was like this. But what troubled Lu Zhao 11 the most was whether Yi Shilan was really okay after being smeared like this. She was still on duty, seeing patients, but it was just a cover to pretend that she was okay. The malicious comments on the forums were like daggers piercing this girl's fragile heart. Lu Zhao 11 didn't want her to read these comments anymore. He comforted her and asked her to calm down. Assistant Wen was trying to handle the situation, but things were getting worse. Even Lu Zhao 11's statement at the sharing event was called a manipulative trick. Yi Shilan's colleagues at the pediatrics department still couldn't stand up for her because if they did, they would be accused of being pressured by the hospital director. Lu Zhao 11 ordered some sweets for Yi Shilan so she could cheer up. They told each other not to worry, but they couldn't help but worry inside. Vice Hospital Director Zhao was actually the root of all the unpleasant issues in the hospital over the past few years. He had colluded with factions in the group to benefit himself and had affected many shareholders. That was why Lu Zhao 11 and his father hadn't been able to fully resolve the situation. It was difficult to catch their loopholes and weaknesses. The male lead also wanted to take advantage of this situation to uncover evidence and loopholes in his actions. The only thing he hadn't expected was that he had attacked Yi Shilan to get back at him, which made him very guilty. It turned out that Assistant Wen had always reported everything to his father, but Lu Zhao 11 didn't know. The slow response from the PR department this time was actually orchestrated by his father. He wanted his enemies to fall asleep on their victory, and then take advantage of this opportunity to find out what cards Vice Hospital Director Giao was holding. Not only that, Director Lu decided to temporarily suspend Yi Shilan's job to continue finding a solution. Back at home, she found Jia still sitting at her computer, typing away, without even changing her clothes. Jia was replying to the mean comments under the post about Yi Shilan. After a long day of enduring unkind gossip at the hospital, Yi Shilan didn't want to waste her time with those people anymore. She pulled Jia out to sit and talk, hoping to be reassured. She then decided to see Chairman Lu to ask about stopping her shifts. Lu Zhao 11 was scolded by his father for making things difficult for her from the beginning because he wanted to show off how talented his girlfriend was. He had also accepted Yi Shilan's suggestions and publicly praised her in the meeting. Everything he had done until now had pushed her to the front, and it was those things that gave Vice Hospital Director Gao the leverage to attack him. This time, he had been too careless. Yi Shilan unexpectedly received a call from an unknown number. When she answered, the insults made her immediately hang up. These were the harassing calls she'd been receiving for days. She told Dr. Xing she was fine, but her face couldn't hide her anxiety. Yi Shilan's mother at home had also read the news. Worried about her daughter, she called to check on her. Yi Shilan told her everything. After her father's death, she had accidentally found a letter her mother had written. Ever since, she had constantly reminded herself that she couldn't cause her any more pain. Realizing that Yi Shilan was still receiving harassing calls from unknown numbers, Lu Zhao 11 resolutely took her to get a new SIM card. Chairman Lu suddenly had a stomachache, so he had to hand over his business trip to Lu Zhao 11. Yi Shilan asked for the afternoon off to help him pack. As soon as Lu Zhao 11 got on the plane, Chairman Lu met with Yi Shilan. Chairman Lu asked her to cooperate and pretend to break up with Lu Zhao 11 to trick Vice Hospital Director Gao. This would be safer for Yi Shilan and her family. The most important thing was to keep this a secret from Lu Zhao 11. That's why he deliberately arranged for Lu Zhao 11 to go on a business trip for a few days. The next day, Yi Shilan took the initiative to ask Vice Hospital Director Zhao to go to Taoyuan Village. She deliberately revealed that she had broken up with the hospital director. They had decided to end it because they couldn't handle the pressure from public opinion. Now, she was no longer scheduled to work at the hospital. Going on a charity mission to Taoyuan Village was a good option. The news of the breakup alarmed Vice Hospital Director Zhao. He couldn't help but doubt it and rushed to verify the situation. He went to Assistant Wen to inquire. This time, Vice Hospital Director Gao finally admitted to Assistant Wen that he wanted to push Lu Zhao 11 out of the hospital director position as soon as possible. Yi Shilan was preparing to go to Taoyuan Village again to provide medical support. This trip would last 3 months, which was not a short period. But unlike the previous trip, Yi Shilan felt calmer this time. She knew she had a strong support system. Lu Zhao 11. The director and deputy director at the Taoyuan Village Clinic were very excited and happy to hear that Yi Shilan was about to return. Yi Shilan's peaceful life, treating patients every day at the clinic, returned once again. Lu Zhao 11 finally returned to the city after a long business trip. After hearing Assistant Wen's report, Lu Zhao 11 found out that Yi Shilan was now in Taoyuan Village. Everyone in the hospital thought they had broken up. He was the main character in the gossip, but he had no idea about any of this. No matter how angry he was, Lu Zhao 11 couldn't get mad at his girlfriend. He heard her explanation on the phone and couldn't help but tease her, acting sulky and reproaching her. Lu Zhao 11 ended his call with Yi Shilan when his father came to talk to him. But his attitude towards his father was very different from his attitude towards his girlfriend. He was very angry. "Are you helping me or playing with me? You've never trusted me." Right from the start of him being the hospital director, Director Lu had been constantly observing and making backup plans. Lu Zhao 11 thought he was the one playing chess, but he was also a pawn. Today, the board met and decided to remove him from the position of hospital director and replace him with Vice Hospital Director Hu. On the other hand, Assistant Wen had successfully become a spy in Vice Hospital Director Zhao's small group. Lu Zhao 11 would handle everything from now on. Director Lu promised to restore his reputation to the board after everything was done. Yi Shilan tried to comfort Lu Zhao 11, teasing him before pressing the video call button. Lu Zhao 11 acted unhappy. His assistant was deceiving his girlfriend, and he ran away, pretending to break up with her. He also lost his job. Lu Zhao 11's life is pretty rough right now. He was truly miserable. Yi Shilan could only apologize profusely for this act. But she assured him that she had never thought about breaking up with him. If she was forced to break up, she would pursue him again. Lu Zhao 11 deserved an Oscar for this act of deception. All the fabricated and slanderous information about Yi Shilan had been successfully removed from social media. Many people left positive comments, saying she was a kind and responsible doctor. Lu Zhao 11 had single-handedly orchestrated this turnaround in public opinion. He even found the video of her helping people and spread it to the community. Everything he did, he thought of her first. She had met him in this lifetime. She must have saved countless lives in her previous life. She would definitely take the lead to express her feelings for him more often from now on. The two lovebirds had been apart for more than a month. Today, Lu Zhao 11 decided to take a trip to Taoyuan Village to visit his girlfriend. Yi Shilan quickly thought ahead and prepared herself. She put on her best outfit, fixed her makeup, and rode her bicycle to meet him. After a period of separation, the natural scenery of Taoyuan Village was truly picturesque. And the scenery was even more beautiful with the couple deeply in love, finally reunited. They shared a passionate kiss, filled with longing from the past month. For them now, just sitting together, admiring the scenery, and chatting was already immense happiness. "There's something serious I need to tell you." Last time, when Vice Hospital Director Gao was investigating Yi Shilan's background, he found her father's medical records. It turns out that before he committed suicide, he was diagnosed with a very serious illness. He saw that his family was already struggling and didn't want his wife and daughter to feel guilty, so he decided to leave like that. Yi Shilan was very sad for her father. She regretted being resentful towards him and couldn't stop the tears from flowing. They stayed by the lake together until the end of the day before going home. Yi Shilan and Lu Zhao 11 had a very meaningful day together. He would also stay in Taoyuan village with her tonight. They walked back to the clinic together, joking and laughing. Yu Shilan was usually strong, cold, and arrogant, but now in front of Lu Zhao 11, she knew how to act cute just to get a kiss from him. It's true that only love can change a person the most. Assistant Wen and Yao Jiajia also started spending more time together. They went out to eat and talked about her upcoming plan to open a cafe. Yu Shilan would be a partner in this special cafe. Assistant Wen, despite being very tired from work at the hospital, was secretly helping her gather more resources to gain experience in this field. Seeing the young couple Lu Zhao 11 and Yu Shilan in Taoyuan village, Assistant Wen thought that it was time for him and Yao Jiajia to officially confirm their relationship. He stood in the middle of the park and decided to confess his feelings. He told her that he liked her too. They finally became a real couple, able to date every day. The director and deputy director of the clinic were overjoyed to see Xiao Lu again. They even asked him to stay and play for a few more days. During the day, he could be Yu Shilan's assistant to avoid being bored. In the afternoon, Yu Shilan wanted to go for a bike ride with Lu Zhao 11 to see the scenery, but she ended up having to teach this goofball how to ride a bicycle. Even the technique of steering and keeping his balance was difficult for him. He fell into someone's vegetable garden after a short ride and crushed all the vegetables. Fortunately, the owner of the vegetable garden was the person Yu Shilan had saved before, so she let the couple off the hook. She couldn't make Lu Zhao 11 keep practicing riding a bike forever, so Yu Shilan had to ride her bike and wait for him as he cycled around the small but beautiful Taoyuan village. They took in the fresh air, enjoyed the scenery, and shared a simple, peaceful life. Just the two of them, him and her. What a blissful happiness. They both were sure that they had chosen each other as their lifelong companions. This was the perfect moment for Lu Zhao 11 to propose to Yu Shilan. Yu Shilan couldn't hesitate any longer and immediately agreed. Lu Zhao 11 and Yu Shilan, they were destined for each other. They found each other, helped each other improve, shone light on each other's good qualities, and had a happy ending. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching.